Good morning to all the participants. We'll now begin this session. Uh, but before beginning this session, I'll just take a moment to introduce our respected resource person for this session. Dr. Anurag Singh sir is having an affluent experience of more than 17 years in teaching, research, and training. His specialization is in marketing and human resource management, and he has obtained his PhD in the area of marketing from FMS Gurukul Kangde University. He has published more than 30 research papers in referred journals and has presented research papers in more than 40 national and international seminars and conferences on the contemporary issues in management. He has chaired a number of technical sessions in national and international conferences, and he has also had active involvement as a trainer to various government departments like MSME and PVVNL. He has been invited as a soft skill trainer by various management institutes and has also developed the curriculum for several management institutions in the country. He has also completed a minor research
Siddharth, your voice is not audible.
Sir, my voice is audible, sir?
Yeah, now it's audible. Please continue.
Sure, sir. So, I'll now invite you, sir, for this formal welcome address, sir. I hope I was
Uh,
audible, sir, when I was giving the introduction for the respected resource person of this session, sir.
yeah, you are audible. There may be some technical issues, no issues. Uh, at the outset, first of all, let me thanks the resource person of uh, the 2 week capacity building program on research and publication ethics. And I am very happy to know that Dr. Anurag Singh from Institute of Management Studies is today's resource person, and especially he has selected the area which is very close to the heart of all the researchers. That is how to frame the how to build the theoretical framework. And I know that he has expertise in this area, and he will do justice with the topic because he has a long experience, as already Siddharth has introduced him. That earlier Dr. Anurag Singh was with Assam University. Now he is from the long back from 2011. It is almost 10 years. He is with Institute of Management Studies with a very reputed university of our country, Banaras Hindu University. So I would like to welcome Dr. Anurag Singh, and I would also express my sincere thanks for accepting my request. And it was very short notice because all the resource persons whom we are inviting, they are actually coming due to our personal relations. They are coming due to our personal relations, and we have gone through his CV. My research scholars have searched his CV, and his CV suits to the this program also. That is not only that we know him, but also his CV suits to our program. And sir, welcome from the School of Commerce and Management Sciences. The founder of the Banaras Hindu University is Pandit Madan Mohan Malvi ji, and the name of our faculty, that is school, is on Pandit Madan Mohan Malvi. That you can say that is the similarity. So I express my sincere gratitude. I express my thanks also for accepting our invitation. I also like to take this opportunity to welcome all the participants in spite of all the hurdles, in spite of all the you can say the problems. They are joining our program at 9:30 sharp. So you all are also welcome in this program, and my sincere thanks to my research scholars who are actually running the show of this capacity building program. They are contacting the resource persons, they are arranging the schedule and everything. So this program is basically driven by our research scholars. They are because they are professors in making, they are professors in waiting. So thank you to you all also. Sir, welcome you in the Department of Management Sciences. Uh, Welcome one again to all everyone who is present in this capacity building program, 2 weeks capacity building program.
So
Over to you, Siddharth.
my thanks to Professor Pavnesh ji. Thank you very much for inviting me and requesting a session, especially in this capacity building program. Immediately when I had a call from your side, I immediately said yes, I will come. So my thanks to Professor Pavnesh ji and Mr. Siddharth ji, who is continuously in touch with me. Yesterday evening, I received one email. At the same time, I also received one link in my WhatsApp. And at the same time, before starting the session, even he called me. He said that the session is about to start at 9:30. But I joined much before that. I was online since 9:15 onwards. Thank you very much, Professor Pavnesh
Okay.
ji.
I will also request my the participants if they can open their camera, because it looks very lively to the resource persons that somebody is listening. If you can, if you are not in such a situation, then you can open, because it is it looks good to the resource persons that they can see you. And because the problem with the online program is that the resource person thinks that he is speaking and nobody is listening. So it is my sincere request, it is my humble request to all of you. Once again, thank you, sir. Once Over to you, Siddharth.
Thank you, sir. I, I'll now like to invite the respected resource person of this session, Dr. Anurag Singh, sir, to carry on the session, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you very much. My proud privilege to be connected with Mahatma Gandhi Central University Motihari and learned participants which are participating from different part of the country. I can see the names. On the basis of that, it can easily be understood that representation is there from almost all the part of the country, even from southern part of the India. Even I am finding someone from northeast as well. Similarly, Bihar, UP, very good representation we are having today here. So let us begin with on the basis of you know this one, your cameras which are open. I can find that you seems to be so experienced. That is also a very good indication at my side. Definitely, I will try to share something or anything which I am knowing. Moreover, when the participation will be there from student side, definitely that will also be an experience of learning for me as well. So don't worry for that. We will have a very good session, wonderful session, and I will be focusing especially on a very two important components, not one, two important components, which are very important for any researcher in case if he is registered for PhD or at the same time if he is writing any research paper as well, in both the conditions. Because what happens, we as a researcher focuses much on statistical analysis part and forgets to mention the conceptual framework which needs to be constructed and something new needs to be drawn. Something new needs to be drawn, right? So that one, and more or less, I have also seen a huge percentage of researchers are not having much idea about the statement of problem, what exactly the problem is, and how we should proceed further. So taking this, these two components in mind, though we are having one separate lecture can be organized on problem statement and one separate lecture can be organized on theoretical frame. So now what will be my way which I will going through? See, in the description of the problem statement, I will present you a case, and on the basis of that, I will draw a problem which is existing, not only a one case, more than 3 to 4 cases, and what problem which is existing, and how to proceed further in terms of writing, because every research have a problem, and problem comes from the conditions which we are finding in the society, right? So that thing I will proceed. There are 3 to 4 examples. On the basis of that, I will proceed for writing a problem. Along with that, when I will proceed for the theoretical frame, I will proceed with certain examples which has been covered in recent past, not in recent past means in 2 to 3 years, of very good, researchers which have worked in recent past, almost in past 20 years, taking the example of 3 to 4 papers and how the theoretical frame that needs to be proposed, that needs to be worked out. I'm not talking about the conceptual frame, I'm talking about the theoretical frame, where there's involvement of a theory that will help you out, especially in having some better idea how to write a theoretical frame. So let us begin. I'm starting from I hope my screen is being shared. One more thing, please tell me up to what time I have to engage the class.
So till 11, sir. So the
11.
session is from 9:30 to 11, sir.
Right.
We can now see your screen, sir.
Thank you. This is problem statement, development of theoretical framework. And any research or scientific research which starts, it has its own journey. What do we as a researcher do? We as a researcher simply selects our topic, any area where we want to work. And the second step is to identify a problem. If the problem is not identified in every research, a very one important component where we have to work identifying the problem. And when the problem is identified, automatically we can proceed further for the research. I mean to say here, research the problem. And as and when we start researching the problem, immediately we comes to a development of a hypothesis. As a work begins, as a work research the problem that begins identifying the problem, then research the problem, that when this work begins, we reaches in a condition where we can say a hypothesis needs to be developed. Now, whenever we are thinking to develop the hypothesis, the role of a theoretical frame comes here. At this particular place, if you can look at my cursor, you can easily understand that the role of theoretical frame comes here. So that leads to development of hypothesis, and hypothesis development leads to design the experiment which is to be conducted in order to find the data, etc., etc. And further, we reaches testing the hypothesis. So this is the process which generally follow. The main purpose in order to explain the purpose, explain the process was to tell when we need to identify the problem and when we need to work out on the theoretical frame. These are two important components. If you look at any of the paper, probably you will find that near about 30% of the entire paper is covered with a theoretical frame, which we generally do not notice. We find or we think that this is a area of literature review where we need not to focus at all, but the real justification which is given behind the explaining the relationship between dependent and independent variable, that is to be mentioned along with a specific theory which has been considered by us. Now, if we proceed further, we need to understand what exactly is the statement of problem. We can say a research problem is an area of problem in the existing knowledge, which leads to confusion and requires further investigation, So three things are coming: problem in their existing knowledge, leading to confusion, and promoting you or motivating you to go for the further investigation. So any kind of confusion which is existing, that can easily be removed. In other words, we can say statement of problems are more focused towards addressing the questions which are arising in our mind, right? Or in other words, we can say a statement of the problem is something which is written, which any of the researcher writes in order to, you can say, address the problem which is existing, which has been found, which was explored by any of the researcher. Or on other words, we can say it helps in defining the destination where a researcher needs to go. Now, whenever you are thinking that this is this kind of problem which is existing knowledge, which is leading to a confusion, that will help you out where you need to go. So the purpose of statement of problem is to define the destination where a researcher needs to go. Or you can say it is the main other purpose of statement of problem is to identify the specific component of the problems which needs to be addressed by someone. If you go inside the problem, probably you may find few more problems as well. That may lead you towards defining some other problems which are related with that particular problem and take reaching in some other specific space. So this was the general description of the statement of problem. Now, whenever we are in the condition to define the problem, write the problem statement, what do it do? It straightway helps us in understanding the problem. What are the reasons behind it? What are the reasons behind it? And which particular reason is hampering the growth of that particular organization? In case if we are focused especially on one particular organization, then, or something which is existing either to this, they do this or that, then in that condition, what kind of confusion is existing and how it can be removed. So we can say these are the certain objectives whenever the problem statement is written by any of the researcher. Now, what are the goals? Though I have already given the idea about the different goals which a statement of problem can lead to have. Now, but description which we are finding, it helps in identifying the reasons. It helps the researcher in identifying why this particular research needs to process. It helps in defining a problem so that any particular kind of issue which is arising that can easily be resolved through investigation. For example, if X company is one of the area of research, and in past year they were having the sale of rupees 50 lakh, and this year the sale of that particular company has reduced down up to 40 lakhs. Keeping this thing into consideration, a company has taken the initiative in order to assess why the sales of this particular organization is going down. Now, there may be a number of reasons. The work of a salesman may not be right. They are not performing well. The training which was imparted to them, that is not accurate. That is not able to help them in order to perform. Or demand of the product one company was maintaining that has reduced down because of many reasons. I mean to say here, if one particular problem which has been identified, which can have several reasons, if any of the reason which is being worked out or this particular problem is worked out, automatically the investigator will be there in a condition to find what kind of problem is existing. When he will find the problem which is existing, he will perform in order to resolve that problem. He will suggest some certain implication part. Through that, definitely the problem which has been initiated, that will be resolved. So these are the certain goals we can say. Now, how the question comes, how to identify the problem? But the biggest question is, how we can identify the problem? Problem can be identified on the basis of comparing the two data which we are having, number one. Number two, it can also be assessed on the basis of different stakeholders which are existing for that particular company. Number two, that may be the decision makers, that may be the customers, that may be any other person. Moreover, the experts in that particular area, they can help you out in having the complete idea about the problem. For that particular purpose, they need to be investigated, they need to be interviewed, or any of the data which we are having. After having the comparison, we can easily identify the problem. For example, in you can say in 2008, the government of India took a decision where when number of states have taken the initiative in order to identify certain rural tourism destinations, and more than 100 initiatives were taken by state government in order to promote the rural tourism destinations. But few destinations could come out in a proper way. One of the important destinations which is existing in Madhya Pradesh, that is known as the Orcha. It came out in a proper way. But the same government, MP government, took the initiative in seven different districts of MP, but none of the rural destination could come out in that particular proper way. Now, interviewing with the persons which are involved in that rural development of rural tourism destination, even they can also give the idea why this particular destination could not come out in a proper way. And this is a problem which is existing. We need to understand it. We need to work out. We need to state it. But what we do, we never write the problem. Am I audible? आप लोग सुनाई दे रहा है?
Yes sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. But what we do, we never write the problem. We write only literature. You go and open 90% of the papers, either they are published in very reputed journals, even they have mentioned only the literature. Since that gap is existing, especially in a problematic area, they will only mention what? They will mention literature gap which is existing. Because, and that's why a kind of problem comes in front of those researchers that they are not able to work out properly, they are not able to define their variables properly, they could not work in a proper way as well. Problem needs to be defined, right? But how the problem needs to be defined? Definitely, we have to identify the problem. Kis tarike se? We can identify the problem with a discussion with, decision makers. We can identify the problem, discussion with other experts. We can identify the problem, discussion, or having the secondary data analysis. I'm not going in detail because if I go in detail, probably that will become a little boring. By three ways we can identify the problems. But one thing which we need to notice that any problem statement have three parts. First part A, that is called as the ideal. What is mentioned in that particular ideal? It describes how things should be or a desired ideal situation. How the thing should be or a desired ideal situation. कैसा होना चाहिए? ये दुनिया कैसी होनी चाहिए? This is the part A. And part B, the reality, describes how the conditions are away from desired as discussed in part A. That means that what is existing in reality and how the ideal is away from reality. Ideal is away from reality. What should be in reality and what is existing in reality. Now what you are finding the gap existing and the reality. If I say I am very happy, I am very prosperous, I have a huge house of constructed in more than 6,000 area, have 3 servants, have 2 cars, maintaining Audi, at the same time my business is prospering. This is the ideal situation which I am stating myself. But if someone of you visits my home, then he finds that I am staying in a 2-room set, having a 1 bike, no servant, I am doing my work. So something which has been explained that was the ideal and something which is existing, that is the reality. So whenever you are writing the reality, it describes how the conditions are away from the desires as discussed in part A from being achieved or realized. That means it explains how the current situation falls short from the desired. And in third part, what we mentioned, the consequences. Consequences means it identifies the way you propose to improve the current situation and move it closer to the goal or ideal. That means the gap which is existing, in order to fill that particular gap, you will identify what is the problematic area and what needs to be resolved so that I can reach again in the ideal situation. Whatever I have explained, that I have a big house, an Audi car, and servants, a very good business, etc., I can reach in that particular situation. In general, if I give a very small definition of a problem statement which we need to mention, try to understand. I am again mentioning it. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
You are
Yes,
audible.
sir.
So, two words description, if I tell, what's problem statement? Reality, ideal minus reality is the problem, area of problem, which we need to be resolved, where we have to find that how can we can improve it. There are three examples. Listen it carefully. I'm going to give you explanation of three examples here. Probably after listening it, you will be having a little idea about it. I'm not saying that you will be able to write everything, but at least some idea you will have, because in 1.5 hours it is not possible to write everything or to give the explanation of everything. If I focus more especially in that particular part, probably I will lose another part which I need to give the explanation. So example 1 is it is having 3 parts. I have written a problem statement. It is having a 3 part. Part A, part B, and part C. Part A means ideal, part B means reality, and part C means consequences. The government of Kenya has a goal to industrialize the nation by the year 2020. And what is being demanded here? This is reference is being demanded. You are not giving an ordinary explanation. You are giving a goal to industrialize the nation by what we say 2020. That's why the reference is requiring. In this regard, it has encouraged growth-oriented micro and small enterprises, that should graduate into medium and large enterprises capable of continuing to industrialization goal. Right? So what the government is doing in this regard, it has encouraged growth-oriented micro and small enterprises. There are several sessional papers, and when you're talking about sessional papers, reference needs to be cited, that contain specific measure to encourage and support micro small enterprises. So reality, what the government is expecting in this regard, something has been taken, some direction has been taken. What the government is expecting the industrialization of the nation by year 2020. And in this regard, what the government has done, that has been mentioned, and which the description of same thing can be found in sessional papers. Part A, the ideal situation. Now, what the reality? Despite the said government efforts, there is slow growth of micro into small enterprises and even slower growth of small into medium scale enterprises. Now, what needs to be given over here? That is again the citation. By mistake, I have written quote along with the statistical citation. Citation required. Now, the government has officially acknowledged that exists a missing middle in Kenya, meaning that there is a gap between small and large enterprises in the country. So here again, cite reference. Kya? Initially, what the government is expecting to industrialize the nation by 2020, in this regard, what initiative has been taken? But in part B, despite the said effort, there is slow growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises. Citation mentioned. And in the consequences, the part C, XYZ said that if the missing middle gap persists, the industrialization goal may be difficult to achieve. But when you are saying someone said, that means citation needs to be given. A need therefore arises to investigate why there is a persistent missing middle despite government efforts. So if you look at the C part, probably you will find that the reality which was there in part A, that was reduced from part B, automatically we found the area of problem is existing and what kind of need initiative we need to take. There's a need initiative to be taken to understand why the persistent missing middle is existing despite the other government efforts. So this is the problem statement. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are
Okay.
audible, sir.
Please keep on paying the attention. Something will go to your mind. That's why I'm saying you. Now, one question, there may be a one question. At the same time, one suggestion from my side. You might be finding site reference and site quote, site reference and site quote. Now, which kind of reference needs to be given? So there is no restriction at all of giving any kind of references. You can give the references of the book, I'm sorry, of any of the book, any of the research paper. But it is suggested while writing a statement of problem, always give the reference of news. Always give the reference of news. And whenever you will search particular thing and go to the news, you will definitely find a specific resource which will tell you that this is the reality which is existing. Because you are working on a statement problem, not working on a literature review. That's why. Here what is happening? We are not writing any other literature review at all. So coming to the example 2, now going to the part A. In order to, and part A means ideal situation. Again, so I'm reading the part A. In order to accomplish their missions, public universities need motivated workforce, the background which I have created. Right? Part 2, this is part B, example 2. There are, however, frequent and severe disciplinary actions, absenteeism, as well as various forms of unrest in public universities, which affect the accomplishment of set missions. This is reference needs to be cited here. सब चीजों को बावजूद, despite the various initiatives, we can say there are, however, frequent and severe disciplinary action, absenteeism, as well as various forms of unrest in public universities which affect the accomplishment of the set mission. And here, mission were set by the universities. The preliminary investigation revealed that both non-management and management staff are undermotivated. Right? So here, absenteeism, then disciplinary action, other thing which is increasing, and that is affecting the accomplishment of mission, it was described here. Therefore, it is being described. The investigation reveals that both non-management and management staff are undermotivated. But you need to cite the reference, and the reference will come from newspaper, not from the literature review or paper published in any journal. Here also, the reference needs to be given. But part C, without affecting at the same time what we are saying, any university want to fulfill its mission, but even then, in recent past, lot many absenteeism, lot many disciplinary action have been taken, which are ultimately going to affect the mission of the organization. In part C, what we are writing, without effective motivational packages and procedures, the sad immoralities are likely to continue and can delay the achievement of university missions. Again, we need to give the reference. Thus, there is a need to examine the public universities' motivation system and procedures. And afterwards, what you will write, that's why we need to investigate, examine the public universities' motivation system. Why? In reality, university was thinking about a mission. In ideal situation, university was thinking about a mission. In reality, university was talking about the disciplinary action, absenteeism, which has occurred in university. And because of that, some kind of motivation problem is existing. And that needs to come out to the motivational packages. Therefore, at last, the researcher is giving the explanation what needs to be done. He needs to examine the public university's motivation system in order to remove all kind of problem which is existing in reality and to achieve something which is expected in ideal. So this was the one example. I'm overcoming this particular example. Now one more example, I'm quoting it here. Listen carefully. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you paying attention? Everyone is there? Are you listening or not? Sometimes
Yes, sir,
something
we are
feels
listening.
boring. Please
Yes,
pay
sir, we
attention.
are listening.
Please pay
Yes,
Yes,
attention.
sir.
Please pay attention on this particular, uh, example. Why I'm quoting this example? This example was quoted by me in my research paper. Try to understand that was published in a very good journal, Springer, and it will help you out in a proper way. Right? See, I have covered part A, part B, and part C. Slightly bigger. Why this is having little bigger? Why? Because I have copied each and every component which I have mentioned in my research paper. Right? Now, this paper is focused on Chinese mobile phone and the consumer. Right? See, Chinese mobile phone, part A I'm reading, Chinese mobile phones are dominating the Indian market. It is interesting to mention that China and India shares hatred with each other due to a rising economic, political, and military dominance in Asia. I have given the citation of one of the newspaper. Two or three, someone they have. It is not a research publication, but it was a paper which was mentioned somewhere. See, further I'm going. Despite Indian consumers' massive apprehension towards Chinese products, most of the time a large number of Indian consumers gets attracted towards Chinese mobile phone. Is this happening? This is the reality which is existing. Even we are having hatred, we are not maintaining a very good political relations. At the same time, our market is full with Chinese mobile phone. And even whenever we are going to purchase something, we are purchasing only Chinese. Let me tell you, number of fintech companies have entered the market in recent past, and fintech, the market which was initially built by Paytm, slowly, that is being covered by some other foreign companies. But I'm still striking on Paytm only. I'm not going to use anything because I'm having a animosity against those companies. Why the multinational companies are working in my India? I will focus especially on paying through Paytm. That's why. So the reasons are product quality, product design, and product price. That's why Indian companies, Indian customers are attracted towards Indian Chinese mobile phone. Product quality, product design, product price. And I have quoted one of the newspaper here. The attraction towards Chinese mobile phone is not only limited to few customers, but a huge Indian population is buying, using, and satisfied. Again, newspaper citation. Many Indian and overseas phones are also delivering similar or better quality and design in comparison to Chinese mobile phone, but the sales is continuously declining in India. That is again declining smartphones since 2018. The citation of a newspaper. The decreasing demand of Indian and other overseas phones and increasing demand of Chinese phones are raising a question: what is inducing Indian customer to buy a Chinese mobile phone? I have reached to the part C. Every time after the geopolitical issue, the expert comments if the dispute between both the companies will persist and continue, the Chinese mobile will lose the market. But despite the disputes with China, Indian consumers are extensively buying Chinese mobile phones. Every year, this happens during Diwali and the Shara season. You might be knowing Puja vacation. Puja the season that this year we will not be purchasing what Chinese product, Chinese diya, because let us give the rojgar employment to our Indian artifacts, or you can say Indian artists, etc., etc. So we'll purchase only this thing. So, and where this campaign is going on, boycott Chinese product campaign that continuously goes on Chinese mobile phones as well. WhatsApp, which I am having Vivo. You are having Redmi. Someone is having Realme. Even OnePlus, we are campaigning against China. So the above explanation expresses the gap between actual and expected scenario. Something which we are expecting in terms of having in dominance of Indian market, Indian mobile companies, but the reality is that Indian consumers are purchasing Chinese products only. So the above explanation explicates the gap existing between an actual expected scenario. Hence, the researcher undertakes to assess the influence of product's price on consumers' willingness to purchase Chinese mobile phones, controlling the effect of product quality and design. So this way, any statement needs to be drafted. This is a template. This is a universal template. If you look at the template, probably you will find all those components: part A, part B, and part C. Nothing else. I'm reading the template here. There is a problem in dash dash dash. That means you need to give the example of the organization. Now, what problem is existing that needs to be described, or situation where the problem is occurring. Then you write, despite dash 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 in bracket, efforts to prevent or deter, then dash dash dash, something undesirable or unexpected is occurring, that you need to provide the evidence, not the evidences of news literature, but the evidences of newspaper. This problem has negatively affected, you need to mention who, किसको affect किया है, victims of the problem, because give the reason, and a possible cause of this problem is, you need to predict it. Perhaps a study which investigates this by a paradigm method could help resolve the situation. So if you look at the template problem statement, probably you will find what needs to be mentioned in this problem statement. Now I am requesting your views, especially I'm looking back, many of you who are online. Now, what difference you are finding with my explanation and something which you are having right now, which you are understanding? आप लोग क्या, what kind of difference you are finding, what you are knowing, and what I am trying to explain? Any one of you, please. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. I'll now request our participants to unmute themselves and make this session interactive. Any of the participants can unmute themselves?
Two or three. 2-3 viewpoints I am expecting from your side.
Sure. Participants can unmute themselves, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Sir, I have one question. In context to thesis, that is based on the leadership, women leadership, the role of women leadership in national building, the role of women leadership position in national building. Sir, here is no clear about that which theory that is going to verify this. It means that it is going in either in general directions or in a specific direction, because this topic, this content is based on a role of women leadership, not clearing about a particular one leadership theory here. Then how we frame the theoretical and conceptual framework in this context?
See, you need to see, Sunil Kumarji, you are asking the question which should be asked only after completion of the second part. I have completed on the first part, that is problem statement. Okay, probably there's no problem at all. I can answer your question as well right now. There are number of theories, not only a one, millions of theories, especially in the leadership which are existing. You need to understand the different variable which you are going to consider, and especially focusing on that particular part which you are thinking to work out. So we can work out is later stage, but you need to understand the second part of my entire, deliberation, right? Any other person? Anyway, leave it. Siddharji?
Yes, sir.
This is the only problem.
Any of the participants can now unmute themselves. Next participants, please.
Good evening, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, is my voice is audible, sir?
Yeah, you are very much audible. I am just expecting your viewpoint, especially the particular while writing problem statement, what you were focusing and what you understood, especially here.
Sir, my topic of the synopsis is from MSME, the MSME role in export, especially in UP. So I am my problem statement is that what the government did in the past and not still continuing. So what should government do to promote the MSME of Uttar Pradesh to increase? Though the MSME of Uttar Pradesh is in the number one position, But how the more government itself should involve in
I'm
the
understanding,
exporting
Naveenji, you need to focus especially in two components: what the government is expecting, what the reality is existing, and how you should proceed further in order to overcome the reality and meet the expectation which the government is expecting. This is the only
yeah, that is
formula through which you can write the statement,
yeah, yes sir.
right? So we can proceed further.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm sharing my screens now again. Has it been shared?
Yes, sir. We can view your screen, sir.
Okay. Now let us come to the development of theoretical frame. Probably Mr. Naveen Singh, who was asking us some questions which were related to theoretical frame about the leadership, he may have little idea when we will going through this particular portion. See, most important component immediately after stating the problem is to develop the theoretical frame, right? We need to focus especially on every component here. We can say every day what is happening, near about 50,000 to 80,000 theories are developed throughout the world every day. This is the reality which is existing. We cannot overcome that particular reality which is existing. Near about 50,000 to 80,000 theories are being developed every day throughout the world, including science, social science, humanities. And who develops the theory? Researchers like you and me, they develop the theory. So theories are developed by researchers, which explains the phenomena, drawn connections, and make predictions, which are drawing the connections and making the predictions. And what we do in the theoretical framework, researcher explains theories. What we do, the work which was proposed by someone, replacing one or two variables with the new variables or adding some more variables in the existing variables, we try to show the research and the grounded in established idea. This is the purpose of development of a theoretical frame. Researcher explains theories, deletes or adds some more variable which supports the researcher, showing that the work is grounded in established ideas, right? Now, why? I don't know how many of you have submitted the paper, especially in a very good journal. Whenever we receive a review from any of the good journal, a very important component which is commented by any of the researcher, that is that your work is not properly grounded in the theory. You have not taken proper theoretical support. आपका theoretical support ठीक नहीं है. That means we haven't grounded our work or the variables which we are going to consider in the existing theories. Initially, I said that more than 50,000 to 60,000 theories are developed every day. And it is not possible for us to find out each and every theory to understand it. But at the same time, few theories which becomes popular, they are worked out by a number of persons. So what is the goal of any theoretical framework? Goal of theoretical framework is to explore theories and models other researchers have developed and explained in their work. Something which has been developed and explained in their work, we need to explore theories and models. As there are many theories, so the theoretical framework should involve evaluating, comparing, selecting of most relevant ones. We know it well, as I told you earlier. There were 50,000 to 80,000 theories are being developed. If you look at the theories of leadership, then probably you will find the very famous theories, more than 1,000 theories which are existing, which we can work out. But being a researcher, the very first work of us is to find out the most appropriate, comparing the most relevant theory which can be fitted in my work in an appropriate way. So we can say, to frame the researcher, you and me, should inform the assumptions and the approach with sound justification behind the theories. Finally, the researcher should take the help of theory to support an interpretation explanation of the data. This is the work where we need to proceed. I am again repeating it here. I am repeating it here. That every day we are getting near about 50,000 to 80,000 theories in different domains. But in one particular domain which we are working, for example, someone has taken the leadership topic, and one of the most important domain leadership topic which is existing. And if out of that different theories which are existing, we need to find out, evaluate, compare, find out the most relevant theory which is going to be fitted, where we can say that the work which is grounded on the basis of problem which was stated by me, that is going to be fitted in this particular theory, that we need to take, and we need to proceed further with the proper and sound justification behind the choices. This is the goal. Now the question comes, how we can create a theoretical frame? This is a big question. I have given you the explanation, easiest way, evaluating, comparing, and selecting the most appropriate one as a theory. But at the same time, we need to understand how the theoretical frame needs to be created. Whenever we are thinking to create the theoretical frame, we need to identify the key concepts, the key terms of the problem statement and research question which has already been identified. Every problem which is stated, that simply helps us in finding out the objective. Every problem which is stated, because if you remember it, when I was giving the explanation of problem statement, it is having three parts: part A, part B, and part C. As ideal, reality, and consequences. What is the ideal situation? What is existing? Ideal minus reality, this is the problematic area, and what needs to be worked out. These are two things which are linked with each other. And whenever we are thinking about the worked out, that is helping us in finding out the objective. And when we are finding the objective, it lets us to raise certain questions which we are having in our mind, that is, they are known as the research questions. For example, the example which I have quoted in front of you, that is giving the explanation about the problem. Many online customers do not return to make subsequent purchases. The objective is to increase customer loyalty. And the research question, how can the satisfaction of a company's X online customer be improved in order to increase customer loyalty? So research question which is linked with the objective, that needs to be worked out properly. That will help us in identifying the key areas on which we need to perform, on which we need to work. After identifying the key areas, we have to evaluate and explain relevant theory, whichever the relevant theory which is existing. I'm not talking about, for example, if we are working, now there is one important concept which is very much well known, that is known, especially in the marketing area. The concept is omni-channel integration or omni-channel retailing, or customer experience in omni-channel retailing. Now, if you look at the different papers in Google Scholar, probably you'll find all the papers were written only in past 2-3 years. You won't be finding any of the new, old areas. Because I know on the basis of technology which has worked, that has provided a better customer experience, and customers are more satisfied with the technology. And technology is one of the components of the area where we can work out. So, considering these two aspects, technology, customer, omnichannel integration, I have simply framed the topic, assessment of technology and on customer satisfaction, impact of technology on customer satisfaction, a study of customer satisfaction, of customer experience, you can say, impact of technology and customer experience, a study on omni-channel retailing. So things are very much clear. We need to work out, especially in the technological part, technology, definitely, and customer satisfaction. So these two important identify the conceptual areas, these identify the key concept. We need to search the relevant theory which is existing there, customer satisfaction theory and technology theory. Definitely, when we are talking about omni-channel retailing and customer experience, then we need to search on the internet technology or IT technology which can provide any kind of effect in terms of satisfaction on the customer. So when we start searching the theories, we will find there a one theory or two theory. If we are finding a one theory, especially in a customer satisfaction area, if we are finding, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, thank you. So if we are finding a one theory in what we say, we are finding one theory in technology area and we are finding another theory in satisfaction area, whether these two theories needs to be combined or both the theory needs to work separately. That needs to be evaluated, assessed by us only, and we are the right one to give the justification. In case we are combining these theories all together, then we can give the justification that since this particular theory is focused only on that particular part, technology part, and this theory is focused on satisfaction part, therefore there's a need to integrate these theories together in order to study my, you can say my area of research. So this is the second portion, how to create a theoretical framework, evaluate and explain relevant theory. Now show how your research fits in. The third thing is that, very important thing, you can take the initiative to combine both two theories altogether. But how your research fits in, this is the important component that you need to justify over there. We can say, apart from discussing other people's theories, the theoretical framework should show how your own project will make use of these ideas, how your own project will help in making the use of these ideas. I will be explaining it properly, there is no problem. We are having sufficient time, at least we are having half an hour, more than half an hour. In case if I go beyond the described time, Siddharthji, then there is problem?
No, sir, no problem at all, sir.
Okay. Because I want to ultimately explain the conceptual part which I want to focus on. Since the time is so less, anyway. So you might aim to do one or more of the following. Test whether theory holds a specific context. Use theory as a basis of interpreting your result. Critique or challenge. We can criticize a theory, we can challenge a theory, we can combine different theories in a new or unique way. We can combine it. We can do any of these things. We can especially test on a particular theory which is existing. Since that particular theory was tested in some other context, therefore we want to test that particular theory in Indian context. It can easily be done. But since this particular work has been done so far, bahut bar, it has been done by many people. Same theory has been tested by Indian people in Indian context so many times. Therefore, immediately the paper is rejected. Or you can even use the theory in the interpretation of your result. If you're thinking need not to integrate any of the theoretical part, especially in theory, you can use that particular theory in interpreting your result. You can work out into that theory in order to criticize or to challenge the theory. At the same time, you can combine different theories in a new or unique way. Whatever you are doing, the description needs to be given, especially in the theoretical frame. And initially, in the first and second paragraph, only this particular purpose needs to be described. If possible, also use the theoretical framework to develop hypotheses for your result. For example, I have taken theory of planned behavior. There are 4 variables which are integrated with each other, and we are showing the relationship. Then we need to work out separately in order to develop the hypothesis. Maybe it may come in this way. Since this particular relationship has not been worked in India, that's why we are working. Or since 2 type of viewpoint, especially in my area, has come so far. What are those? Few said that this relationship exists, and few said that this relationship does not exist. Are you getting it? Relationship exists and relationship does not exist. Now, when we are saying that relationship exists and relationship does not exist, that means that there's a confusion. That's why you are thinking to work out on that particular hypothesis in which you are showing the relationship between certain variables, right? So now another question which comes, where we need to place the theoretical frame, though there is no rule for structuring a theoretical frame. But at the same time, it is generally said as a good researcher what they do. If you go to any of the good research paper or good thesis, you will find that literature review chapter, integration of the theory in the literature review chapter can be, or you can put a separate chapter or section for theoretical frame. But generally it is suggested theoretical frame should come under literature review. You initiate with the theoretical frame and later stage come on the literature review in order to establish a relationship between different variables which you are going to consider. If they're dealing with a lot of complex theory, it is good to have a separate theoretical framework chapter. Since you are not able to establish any kind of relationship between the different variables which you are considering, that means in that condition you need to work out on a separate theoretical framework chapter. So it can come in the theoretical literature review section depending on the work which you are proceeding further, but it can come later stage in case if you're dealing with so many complex theory in a separate theoretical framework chapter. But the most thing is that whenever either you take complex theory or a one theory in order to establish the relationship between different variables and to write out the hypothesis, then there's a need to give the clear logical structure and the reasoning behind why you are integrating this theoretical frame in literature review or why you are going for a separate literature review chapter. I'm coming with one of a very well-known theory or the model which has been proposed or worked out by Davis. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This particular model is known as technology acceptance model. It is also known as the TAM1. Later stage, the TAM was worked out again with one researcher, and it was given the name TAM2, also known as the TAM, extended TAM. TAM means technology acceptance model. The technology acceptance model is an information system theory to explain how user accepts and use a technology. How the user, you and me, accepts and use the technology. That is information technology. Right now we're connected on Google, you can say Meet. This is technology. How you accept it and using a technology. The actual system used is the end point for the use of technology. So the actual system uses the end point for use of technology. Behavior intention is a factor that leads people to use the technology. The model says that when users are presented with a new technology, a number of factors influence their decision. Any kind of changes which are brought in the existing, you can say, technology, that can lead to confusion as well. Sometimes we are able to use it, sometimes we are not able to use it. Sometimes we are able to accept it, sometimes we are not able to reject it. Like for example, if we are doing internet banking, all of a sudden the bank takes the decision to strengthen the security system of internet banking and makes so many changes in the, you can say, website. We find it difficult initially where to start and how to work. I remember SBI Cap Security, they have changed their app, and near about, the explanation was near about 7 to 8 lakh people were connected on this SBI Cap Securities app in order to purchase the shares from the share market directly or the mutual fund from the share market as well. So you can't believe those people which were versed on the previous applications, they faced a difficulty. Company had to hold so many workshop and webinar in order to give the explanation how to use it. And same time they have given number of YouTube explanation as well. So this is the very important component we need to understand, especially in technology acceptance model. What happens if we are comfortable with the previous technology, some kind of changes which are made in the right present technology, we face difficulty in accepting it. So there are three things we can say, two things which are very important in technology acceptance model, which has been explained here. Perceived usefulness, the degree to which a person believes that using a particular system would enhance job performance. And he said this was given by the Fred Davis, who worked out on the technology acceptance model. Davis in 1989. And the second one is the perceived ease of use. किसी भी how much you are perceiving that this particular technology is useful, and perceiving how much ease of use of this particular technology is with you. So the explanation which was given, the degree to which a person believes that using a particular system would be free from efforts. Davis explanation. And this is the complete technology acceptance model which was given by David 1989. Perceived usefulness, one variable which I have explained it here. Are you viewing this or not? Am I audible? Understanding?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Thank you very much. So please keep on paying attention. Probably you're going to understand something new and different. That's why I'm saying it. Perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. These are two independent variables which are leading for the dependent variable intention to use. If you're known that how useful that particular technology is, you are perceiving it. If you're perceiving how easy to use that particular technology is, then it will lead you towards the intention to use as a dependent variable. And intention to use will help you to have the detailed relationship with the usage of variable. So this is again the dependent variable. Here it is independent variable. Now, considering this particular model which was propagated, worked out by Davis technology acceptance model in 1989, Fred Davis, taking this particular theory into consideration. One more person who was अभी थे एक साहब जिन्होंने मुझसे प्रश्न पूछा थ्योरी के बारे में. Some Singh was there. Is he available or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I am available.
Okay, you listen carefully. For example, I am working in the technology area and I have taken this particular theory as my theoretical frame, but I cannot use this particular theory in my research on accurate basis. So what I will do, listen carefully. Since we were talking about the TAM1, so TAM theory is based on a theory of reasoned action, which was given by Martin Fishbane and Isaac Ising in 1967. TAM1 के पीछे भी base है. This particular theory was not given in isolation. There is a base behind this particular theory. And what is the base? Base is theory of reasoned action, which was given by Martin Fishbane and Isaac Ising in 1967. So that is called a TRA. TRA is derived from other theory of social psychology, persuasion model, and attitude theories. Now think about that. TAM1 was taken from TRA, and TRA was drawn from social psychology, persuasion model, and attitude theories. So we can say TRA or TORA aims to explain the relationship between attitude and behavior with a human action. This is the logic behind the TAM1, which Davis himself has given in his paper. Attitude toward the behavior and subjective norms are the base in TRA. However, critics estimated that attitude theories were not providing good indicators of human behavior. Therefore, TRA was later revised and expanded by the two theories in following decades to overcome any discrepancies in A and B. So TRA triggered the TAM. तो TAM का origin कहाँ से है? TRA से है. Theory of reasoned action. What was the criticism which was brought in technology acceptance model system and outcome? Now, when the Fred Davis, this particular theory was given, he worked out after taking the base of the theory of reasoned action, which was given by Martin Fishbane and Isaac Ising in 1967. Isaac Ising, he is still alive. And when we talk about that particular TRA theory, that it was taken out certain social psychology theories as well. We are not going into detail, especially this particular theory. Like when this particular theory was given, what were the criticism? Technology acceptance model, जो कि Martin Fishbane and Fred Davis ने जो दी, उसके क्या criticism आए? The TAM includes its questionable experimental value. It is limited explanatory predictive power, inconsequences, and have a lack of practical value. Chuttur, 2009, he said. Ease of use and usefulness differs from man to man. That's why probably these two variables cannot be the proper predictor of you can say any issue. Training can change the ease of use, which was not covered in TAM1. The kind of criticism we have received with respect to the particular theory. The constantly changing IT environment has led to state of theoretical chaos and confusion. This was explained by Bambas and Barkin 2007. Luce-Ford argues that the framework of perceived usefulness and ease of use overlook other issues. These two. Perceived usefulness and ease of use. These framework of these two things, they have overlooked some other issues which can be very much useful, such as cost, structural imperatives, which focus users onto technology adoption, etc., etc. So these were the criticism. What happened? When the criticism was given, the outcome of the criticism was, it is a very basic model. It is disastrous in predicting the behavior and intention. It did not talk about external factor which influence ease of use and perceived. TAM is talking about positive side, no discussion on the barriers. That means what? अभी हम किसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? किसकी criticism आई? किसके outcome के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? Any one of you, please. Let me understand how much attention you are paying towards development of theoretical frame. हम किसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं?
Participants can unmute themselves, please. Ankita Kumari has posted in the chat that we are discussing the criticism of TAM, Technology Acceptance Model.
Right. We were discussing about the criticism and outcomes of TAM. That means what happened? TAM was converted into the extended TAM, that is TAM 2. Someone worked on the criticism and outcomes and he extended that particular TAM. And this time, two researchers came all together. Venkatesh, Indian origin researcher, very well-known person in the field of technology acceptance model, and Fred Davis in 2000. So what they did, अगर आप ध्यान देंगे, I think Sanjay Singh, who asked the question, he must pay attention. Sanjay Singh, this was the original TAM 1. But when this particular model was criticized, outcome of the TAM 1 was criticized, then the Venkatesh, along with Fred Davis, the original author of TAM 1 in 1989, they came together in 2000 and they took the basic TAM here. Perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, intention to use, usage behavior. And at the same time, few variables which they have drawn from theory of reasoned action, which talks about the actual human behavior, they have integrated it here. Subjective norm, image, job relevance, output quality, result demonstrability. These are the few things, and they simply try to assess the effect of these variables on perceived usefulness, here. And he also assessed the subjective norm direct relationship with the intention to use. And he also studied the moderating effect of experience and voluntariness between the relationship of subjective norms and intention to use, subjective norm and perceived usefulness. And this way, TAM 2 was worked out by Venkatesh and Davis 2000. So the kind of difference you can find, especially the TAM 1 and TAM 2. So what happened? TAM 3 differentiate, when we talk about the differentiation between both the models, TAM 3 differentiate TAM 2 by addition of drive and perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. TAM 1 is a good to study the model from the end user perspective. In marketing, there are two schools of thoughts. They are called a utilitarian and hedonic view. Utilitarian approach say it explains what I am able to do by the technology, and hedonic approach say driven by external factors which explains the pressure. So the perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use can be measured from various scales. This one. So this is utilitarian approach and this one, and this is hedonic approach here. So the question came, how to measure it? For example, if Sanjay Singh applies this particular TAM 2 model in his study, then how to measure it? So the measurement of the TAM scale that can easily be found, that is given in this particular paper. I clicked it and you will find it here. I may have made it red, These are the different scales. Initial scale item, perceived usefulness. These are the scale items, initial scale items for perceived ease of use, that is given there, right? You can measure it clearly by this. TAM tool, this one again, there may be certain question and answer which I'm going to give the explanation same. How to measure perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. So later stage, that particular scale was existing, but an improvised and adaptive scale as per the requirement can be used. This one. This is another paper which is work is patched in the TAM1, adoption of artificial intelligence based chatbots for hospitality and tourism. Measuring it, this one. Certain variables which you are finding, perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness. And these are the variable. These are the certain statements which can be taken into consideration while studying. You can say perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness in order to study both the things. And a few other variables which are mentioned in this particular model. This one. Perceived trust, then anthropomorphism, perceived intelligence, technology anxiety, other variables. Now, if you look at this model, I hope you are paying attention here. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you look at this particular model and going back where we were, this one, TAM1, perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, intention to use, usage behavior, right? And we are reaching on this particular scale. Perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness, adoption intention of artificial intelligence, and actual usage. Yet the same TAM model is existing here, but at the same time, few more variables were added. This is technology and anxiety, perceived trust, anthropomorphism, then perceived intelligence. These few variables which has been added over here. So we can say there may be certain questions which are related to this one, how we can use it in our theoretical frame. In this one, the TAM which we are talking, why TAM was used in this paper, why not extended TAM? This particular paper which I have given. Now, if you look at the extended TAM, you will find it extended TAM it like this. And the original TAM was like this. But in that particular paper, original TAM was used. Why not extended TAM? So we can say TAM2 and TAM3 use basic aspect like subjective norm, perceived ease of use, and usefulness. Whereas TAM1 is the result of theory of reasoned action, which is coming from social psychology, which used other constructs like external, extrinsic, context facilitating factor. We can use other constructs from our theory. That depends on you, and the sound justification needs to be given whichever theory you are using whenever you're developing a theoretical frame. Another question which is coming out of it, since I know that in online, few lectures, generally person do not ask the questions. That's why I'm writing the question myself as well. In TAM1, can we associate any other construct with another theory? Yes, we can associate any construct with the existing theory. What we have done here in this one? What we have done? We have already associated many other constructs with the TAM1. These are two constructs which are existing in the TAM1, but we have associated these four constructs here. So, answer of this particular question is yes, but with sound justification for using additional constructs. TAM1, TAM2, or TAM3 can single-handedly used or can be integrated with sound justification. Any other construct can be added in it. Modification in the existing model is required. Otherwise, you will be questioned for your contribution. If you copy some other person's model and work out on that thing, then you will always be questioned. Therefore, there's a need to work out, especially in addition, or you club two or three theories together. We can take many more variables with justification as per our research work. Any variable, any number of variables which we want to add it, you can add it, but with a proper justification. Another question which we can have out of this particular explanation, if we work on TAM3 and is giving an output, can we call our model as a TAM4? TAM4. Since the researcher who worked on artificial intelligence, he has associated 4 or 5 constructs, and he took the base of the TAM1. Can we say it as a TAM4? If additional constructs are not working on the base construct, then it will not be called as TAM4. Therefore, additional constructs which are going to add, they should be related with the base construct. Since in this particular paper, which we had talked especially on this one, artificial intelligence, here we haven't worked on additional construct. They are not matching with the base construct, technology anxiety, perceived trust, perceived intelligence, anthropomorphism. They are not related with these things. That's why we cannot say that it is the TAM4. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Another question can be, with this, whatever we are going to study, what other variables can be used if a researcher considers a base of a TAM model? Number of variables can be used. Unlimited number of variables are there, but the sound justification can be gender, age, income, voluntariness. Since we have seen one model earlier, here, if the experience is being considered a moderating effect, even a gender can also be considered. That depends on a researcher, what he's thinking. Voluntariness, that is being considered a moderating effective variable, it can also be considered gender. So that depends which other variables can be considered. Gender, age, income, voluntariness to use to be considered a moderator. Another question can be, can a reviewer say that using above mentioned variable, there is no addition in the body of knowledge? If we are not using above mentioned variable, can a research reviewer say that using above mentioned variable there is no addition in the body of knowledge? Yes. अगर कोई एग्जिस्टिंग थ्योरी में आप कोई नया वेरिएबल को यूज ऐड नहीं करते हैं तो वो हमेशा कहेगा कि कोई भी बॉडी ऑफ नॉलेज में आपने इंक्रीमेंट नहीं किया. You haven't added any value in the existing body of knowledge. So whenever you work out with a one particular theory, then there's a need to add some variable. Then the comments you will not receive the comment like that you are not adding some value to the existing body of knowledge. Few other constructs from our theories should be added. That depends on you, which you are finding more similar to them. This can be understood from the paper chatbot. Here, we can never say that this particular theory, this particular work is not contributing any contribution to the existing body of knowledge. Existing body of knowledge was talking about these 3-4 variables: perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness, intention, and actual behavior. But at the same time, these 4 variables, technology anxiety, perceived trust, anthropomorphism, perceived intelligence, and stickness to traditional travel agents planner, they have been added. That's why we can say that this is the contribution towards the existing body of knowledge. This particular paper will never be rejected. Right? Another question which we can have whenever we are writing a theoretical frame, is it good to integrate 2 or more theories? Yes. We can make few moderation and mediation and can take, but with sound justification, 2 and more theories can be integrated all together. This one. This is the same example which I was quoting here. Now, another question which we can have to study the technological use, can we take TAM? To study technological use, can we take TAM? Yes, there's no problem. In case our work is related with a digital technology, based instrument like auto driver cars, ERP, but not mechanical technology, we can use technology acceptance model. But some other kind of technology is being used, we can never use TAM. Another question can we apply TAM in new domain? Yes, we can apply this TAM in new domain like human resource information management system. Anywhere, wherever the use of digital technology is coming, we can apply it. We can apply it in retailing, we can apply in tourism, booking, etc., etc. Not only this, we can apply in fintech technologies, in finance as well. We can apply in, in income tax, submission of our income tax or filing of our income tax, etc., etc. Everywhere it can be applied. Even learning of leadership, it can be applied. If some leadership lessons are being explained to someone online, this particular theory can be applied. What other theories are related to TAM? TAM 1, TAM 2, TAM 3, and UTOUT, Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology, that is also related to TAM. Now, what happened? Listen carefully. The TAM 2, which was worked by Davis and Venkatesh, right? This one, Venkatesh and Davis in 2000, they reworked on TAM 2. इसी पे आप ध्यान से देखिए, TAM 1 है ये, इसमें कुछ वेरिएबल्स को ऐड कर दिया, सब्जेक्टिव नॉर्म, इमेज, जॉब रेलिवेंस, आउटपुट क्वालिटी, रिजल्ट डेमोन्स्ट्रेबिलिटी, इसको TAM 2 बना दिया। और इसी पे क्या किया कि वेंकटेश worked with Bala in 2008, and what they did, they changed certain variables. Earlier few variables which were available here, they were studied on perceived usefulness. But later stage, few more variables were added, which were known as the hedonic variables. They were also assessed on perceived ease of use. Now, what are those? Few of them, they were retained, a few of them were added. Image, job relevance, quality output, results demonstrability, they were the same thing which they remained. Here, the moderating effect, experience and voluntarily, they remained, but two variables were removed from here. I am not exactly able to check it out. Let me check it out. What were removed? Output quality, job relevance, image, subjective norm. Nothing was removed, but few variables were added. Consumer self-efficacy, perceptions of external control, consumer anxiety, customer play furnish, adjustment, few values were added, and they were checked on perceived ease of use. So this particular model, which started from theory of reasoned actions, came to TAM 1, converted into TAM 2, and worked out by same person Venkatesh, but new person was added in it, Bala, in 2008. They published the TAM 3 model. So I mean to say here, this is the base behind the theory, but some more variables are being that needs to be written with a sound justification whenever some relationship is going to be checked, and you need to work out especially on the relationship which you are developing in the form of hypothesis. But same thing that was worked later stage by themselves only in same year. They studied the moderating relationship on certain variables. Now, moderating relationship might be studied some existing relationship as well, but the indication can't be seen here. Why? Whatever the moderating relationship is found, were significant, they have been mentioned here. Otherwise, no. So that depends. Everything is there in your goal. You play with the variables, try to develop your own theoretical framework, take the information, knowledge behind the existing theory, automatically your paper or work will be satisfied and published. So I am not going beyond it, since my time is not permitting. Otherwise, I was having one more example of that thing. Probably I would have taken for half an hour more. Since I am also engaged somewhere, so I will not be going on it. Otherwise, I would have developed the unified theory of talked about the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, which was given by Venkatesh himself in 2003, and later stage it was converted into UTOUT 2 and then UTOUT 3 as well. So this is one model which I have recently developed. Listen carefully. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
This particular model was based on assessing of consumer purchase intention for luxury fashion brands in online retail through integration model of theory of brand behavior and signaling theory. These are the two theories, theory of planned behavior, TPB, and signaling theory. So theory of planned behavior, that was also developed by whom? Anyone of you can tell?
Participants can unmute themselves, please.
This theory was developed by Isaac Ising. This is theory of planned behavior that talks about attitude towards the behavior, subjective norms, perceived behavior control, existing theory. And at the same time, signaling theory, that is a separate theory, electronic word of mouth signal and brand information signal. And these things have been linked to the intention to purchase. Integrating these two theories, I am working on intention to purchase, which will lead me towards the behavior of purchase, behavior to purchase. Counterfeit product has been considered as the moderating variable between the relationship of intention to purchase and behavior to purchase. So I mean to say here, anything which you are having, if you are having the sound justification behind the usage, since I am working on counterfeit, what I have, इसका topic क्या है? Consumer purchase intention for luxury fashion brands in online retail through integrated model of planned behavior and signaling theory. And counterfeit, that is based on counterfeit products. That's why. So whenever we are going to purchase something, we always have a counterfeit product risk. That's why this particular variable is being considered as a moderating variable between intention to purchase and behavior to purchase. So here what I did, I have integrated two theories, but at the same time, new variable has been used here in between, that is a counterfeit product risk, and I am trying to assess it. The work is under progress. Probably someone will come out with this particular topic. So this is all from my side. I hope I have tried my level best to give you the explanation of the concept and how to develop the theoretical frame, and probably it will help you in having better learning in coming time. Any question if you have, you can ask me.
Thank you, sir. We have few questions in the chat room, sir. So I'll read them out. One question is, how should we create a problem statement in design thinking while writing thesis? This question has been put forward by Ankita Kumari, who has also raised her hand. So if Ankita ji can unmute and elaborate on her question, please.
Good morning, sir. It's Ankita, PhD scholar from Mahatma Gandhi Central University. Thank you, sir, for your nice explanation. My question is that, sir, how should we create a problem statement in design thinking? If I have written a thesis, if I'm writing a thesis, then how should I create? And second question is that, sir, what is the difference between conceptual framework and a conceptual model?
See, you have asked two different questions. See, any of the problem statement that is developed on the basis of any problem which you are assessing in any of the area, and that needs to be evaluated in the light of reality which is existing. If you think about any of the area, reality and ideal, and if you reduce the reality with the ideal, automatically you will find the area of problem. And when you find the area of problem, automatically you have to work out what needs to be done at your end. At your end, right? This is the answer of the question which you are talking about, design thinking. And since you have asked the difference between the conceptual frame and conceptual model, see, whenever we talk about a conceptual model, that is not based on any of the theoretical base which you have considered. And probably if you work out especially stateway on that particular area, you won't have the right direction in order to reduce any kind of comment which may come from the reviewer side, that this particular work is missing the specific theoretical frame which needs to be worked out, and that is completely based on different concept which you have taken on the basis of model which you have framed automatically by yourself, which is this is one of the way which number of researchers are following. but later stage receives the comments that since you have not used any of the theory which needs to be worked out, especially in your research work, number of theories are being used, you have to take the base behind the theory and add certain variables which you find it suitably. That's why that complete thing becomes a theoretical frame. So we can say that whenever you are working, don't work alone with the concepts or develop the conceptual frame, work with the theoretical frame, working especially with the theoretical framework or the description of the variable which you are going to consider. That concept and the conceptual frame can be integrated into the theoretical frame, which is more appropriate in comparison to another thing. Yes.
Sir, I have one more question, sir, regarding theoretical framework. Sir, is there any link of searching appropriate theory that could be fit for my research study?
Yes, yes. Let me share it. I will share just a minute.
Okay, sir.
Since we could not complete topic which I was I don't know whether I'm sharing. My screen is being shared.
No, sir, we cannot see your screen right now, sir.
Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm trying to open it. Yes, it has opened. See, it is so difficult to find the list of almost all kind of theories, since in the very beginning I told you that more than 50,000 to 80,000 theories are given every day. But a description about certain theories which are useful and has been worked in recent past, you can find it here, that is given on the website. This is, you can find it, theorizeit, theorizeit.org. Now, any of the theory you would use it. Cognitive dissonance theory. Click it, go in the description, you will find the cognitive dissonance theory. Any theory, whichever you feel it's suitable. Like UTAU theory, which I was talking, Unified Theory of Technology Acceptance. This one. It is given here. Read it and apply it. Diagrammatics, semantic of theory. Right? Any other question?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We can have one last question for the participants. If any one of you wish to ask a question, you can just unmute yourself. Ankita ji, your hands is still up. Is there any other question you would like to ask?
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable knowledge sharing session. Sir, my question is regarding the selection of a particular theory in context of a research paper. Suppose I'm writing a paper on motivation and how it is going to impact the employee performance. So there are so many theories of motivation. So is there any unique way to select a particular theory that this theory is going to apply in my research model or research paper?
Yeah, same question I have, sir.
Because there are
Thank you
so
very
many
much.
theories.
Yes, Babita ji, I am getting a question. See, if you remember when I was giving the explanation, same thing in the beginning, I told you that you need to evaluate the theory in the light of problem which you're going to consider. The certain concepts which are related with the problem, they are clear to you in the beginning. And you need to find out the appropriate theory which you can consider on the basis certain justification of the problem. Now, if we talk about a TAM 1 was with certain variables, TAM 2 was additional variable, TAM 3 is with more additional variable. So this difference between all the TAM, that is there with you. But on the basis of the study which you are going to consider, the problem which you are going to take, what variables are most suitable, which has already been used with the theory, that needs to be taken into consideration, and on the basis of that you can select the most suitable theory for your work. Else it is so difficult. You are the only person, if you have studied your work properly, if you know the variables properly, then you can find the appropriate theory on the basis of your understanding. There are millions of theories which are existing, but the students are not taking into consideration. I've seen it. They realize it very late when every work is completed. They are about the submission of their thesis. They realize that if I would have taken any theory, if I would have considered any of the theoretical frame in the beginning, my paper would have accepted without having the critical review of the reviewer that the theoretical base is missing, or no sound justification with a theoretical base was given in the paper. That is completely your decision. You have to assess on the basis of certain variable concept which you have considered in the problem.
Got it, sir. Means based on the very identified variable that we get
you,
from the
you need to identify the concepts which are related with the problem which you have identified yourself.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your elaborative presentation on the topic. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Chandan Veer from Department of Management Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi Central University, to extend a formal vote of thanks. Chandanji, if you may hear me, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Siddharthi. Good morning, sir. First of all, I would like to thank our chairperson, Honorable VC Sri Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, sir, for his continuous blessings. I would also like to thank our Honorable Pro VC, sir, for his hand-holding support. And I would also like to thank our Honorable Dean, Professor Pavnesh Kumar, sir, for continuously guiding us throughout this session, throughout this program. I would also like to thank our today's resource person, Anurag Singh, sir. Sir, thanks a lot for such a wonderful session. You explained the topic in such a lucid manner. Really thankful. I think every participants have absorbed a lot more from today's session. And at last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for being with us today in our session. Thank you. Thank you to all. Over to you, Siddharthi.
Thank you, sir. Anurag, sir, with your due permission now, we can bring this session to a close.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.